keeping up with fintech these days, right? It feels like every day there's some new groundbreaking research or development, and honestly, sometimes I feel like I need a PhD just to know where to even start looking.
It's true, the sheer volume of information coming out of both the industry and academia can be overwhelming.
Exactly, and that's what really piqued our interest when we came across this thing called the OI SIFTO, which,
Huh.
for our listeners, translates to the platform for cooperation between fintech and academia.
A mouthful, for sure.
Yeah, maybe we'll just stick with the platform for today.
Sounds good.
So the basic idea here, at least from what we've been able to glean from these sources, is to create this central hub where fintech companies and academic researchers can kind of meet, connect, and collaborate, right?
Precisely. It's all about bridging the gap between, let's say, the theoretical world of research and the practical, often very fast-paced world of fintech.
And it seems like they're really trying to tackle this from multiple angles, too, with a focus on facilitating information exchange, building a sort of database of relevant research, and most importantly, stimulating these joint projects, these real-world collaborations.
That's definitely a key aspect.
Yeah, and that's what we really want to dig into today in this deep dive. How exactly is this platform designed to actually work? What are the mechanisms it's putting in place to foster that collaboration, especially when it comes to how they're structuring different groups and, of course, the all-important question of how they plan to make money to keep the whole thing running?
The sustainability aspect is crucial.
Totally. So let's start with the basics. What are the core goals here, and what's the structure like?
Well, the overarching aim, as I mentioned, is to really smooth out that flow of knowledge between academia and the fintech industry.
Okay, and how do they plan to do that?
They're proposing a multi-layered system, with the foundation being this online portal, this website that acts as the central hub for everything.
Got it, a kind of digital meeting place.
Exactly, and one of the key features they're highlighting is this comprehensive catalog of participants, almost like a directory.
Okay, so who are these participants?
You've got fintech companies on one side, and they can create profiles where they outline the specific challenges they're facing, maybe the kind of research they're interested in, or even the specific problems they're trying to solve.
So instead of like randomly reaching out to university departments, hoping to find someone working on what they need,
It cuts out a lot of that legwork.
makes sense. And on the other side, I'm guessing it's the researchers, right?
Right, researchers and even entire academic groups can showcase their expertise, their areas of focus, and crucially, all of their published work.
So it's like a one-stop shop for fintech companies to see who's out there, who's doing what, and what kind of research already exists.
Exactly. It's about making that initial connection so much easier and more targeted.
So it's more than just like a static directory, right?
Mhm.
Right, there has to be more to actually drive engagement and facilitate those connections.
Definitely. The website goes beyond just profiles. They're also planning to have a pretty extensive library of resources.
What kind of resources are we talking about?
Well, you have your standard academic papers, of course, but also case studies that demonstrate how specific research has actually been applied in real-world scenarios.
Well, that's actually really smart. It's one thing to read about a concept, but seeing it in action is a whole other level of understanding.
Right, and they're even talking about including anonymized data sets that researchers might be interested in using for their work.
Oh, wow. So it really is a multifaceted resource for both sides.
And to really keep that engagement going, they're incorporating a lot of interactive elements.
Like,
Forums, chat areas where people can have discussions around specific topics, even the possibility of online consultations with experts in certain fields.
so they're trying to build a community aspect to it.
Very much so. The idea is to have ongoing interaction and not just be a one-time visit kind of thing.
Okay, that's starting to paint a clearer picture. So we've got the website, the directory, the resources, and the interactive elements. How do they keep everyone updated on what's going on?
That's where their weekly newsletter comes in. They're planning to distribute it via email, of course, but also have an archive on the website.
It makes sense. Keeps everyone in the loop.
And this is where it gets really interesting. They're planning to have short commentaries from professors, experts in economics, fintech, the financial markets.
Oh, wow. So it's not just platform updates. It's actual expert analysis.
Exactly. Connecting academic insights to what's happening in the industry right now.
That's a really valuable addition. I could see myself subscribing to that even if I wasn't actively using the platform.
It's a smart way to provide continuous value.
And speaking of value, what about the professors themselves? How are they showcased on this platform?
That's where the professor pages come in, and these are envisioned as being much more than just a basic faculty bio you'd find on a university website.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Think of it as a comprehensive professional profile with a photo, their affiliations, their specific areas of expertise, and, this is crucial, a complete list of all their publications.
Okay, so anyone looking for a specific area of research can easily see who the leading experts are and what they've published.
And to make it even easier, they're talking about having direct links to the publications, maybe even downloadable PDFs.
That's great. No more hunting through obscure academic databases.
Right. And these pages could also feature other types of content like videos or audio recordings.
Oh, interesting. Like what?
Maybe short explanations of their current research, recordings of lectures they've given, really anything that provides more context and depth to their expertise.
That's a really nice touch.
And here's the key part. Each professor can list current research projects where they're specifically looking for collaboration with industry partners.
So fintech companies can see where there are active opportunities to get involved.
Exactly. And to make it even easier, there are contact forms built right into the platform.
So it streamlines the entire process of connecting and getting that conversation started.
That's the goal.
Okay, so we've seen the structure, the website, the newsletter, the individual profiles, all of that. But what about the actual functionality? How do they get people to actually use this platform and connect with each other?
Well, the user profiles themselves are designed to be more than just static information.
Okay, so what else is there?
Well, they encourage users to include biographies, go into detail about their research interests, really flesh out their specific areas of specialization.
So you get a better sense of who you're potentially connecting with.
It's about building trust and making sure it's the right fit.
And I imagine the ability to search for partners is pretty important, right?
Absolutely, that's a core functionality. They're talking about a really robust search mechanism where users can filter based on a whole range of criteria.
Such as?
Well, it could be areas of industry activity, payments, lending, insurtech, that kind of thing.
Okay, makes sense.
Or they can get more granular, searching by specific research interests, methodologies, even by the type of problem they're trying to solve.
So it's very targeted. You can really hone in on what you're looking for.
Exactly. And they're really emphasizing the security aspect as well, particularly when it comes to data exchange and storage.
Yeah, I imagine that's crucial in fintech, where you're dealing with sensitive financial information.
Absolutely. No one wants to feel like their ideas or data are at risk.
Makes sense. So they're really trying to build that trust.
And once those connections are made, the platform provides all the tools you need to actually collaborate.
Oh, like what?
Well, there's direct chat functionality, of course, video conferencing capabilities.
So you can have those face-to-face interactions even if you're miles apart.
Right, and they're also planning to have shared digital workspaces.
Ah, so teams can work together on documents, share files, that kind of thing.
Exactly, and even virtual whiteboards for brainstorming sessions, visual collaboration.
That's pretty cool. It really replicates a lot of those in-person collaborative elements.
And to round it all off, they're going to have an events module, keeping everyone updated on upcoming webinars, workshops, even industry conferences.
So it's about keeping that engagement going, fostering those connections, even outside of the platform itself.
Exactly, building a real sense of community.
Okay, so we've got a pretty good understanding of how the platform itself is designed to work. But let's talk about the people involved, the actual users. We've got academic researchers, fintech companies, even investors mentioned in these sources.
Right, a whole ecosystem.
So let's start with the researchers. What are their motivations for getting involved in something like this?
I think a primary driver for a lot of academics is the desire to see their research actually applied in the real world.
It's one thing to publish a paper, but to see your ideas make a tangible impact.
It's a different level of fulfillment.
And I imagine the potential for funding is a big factor too, right?
Absolutely. Research funding is always a challenge in academia.
In fintech companies, they have the resources and they're looking for those cutting-edge ideas.
It's a potentially very beneficial partnership.
Totally. And beyond funding, what else motivates researchers to engage with the industry?
Well, collaboration often leads to richer research outcomes.
Oh, how so?
Well, by working with industry partners, they gain access to real-world data, practical insights that they might not have in a purely academic setting.
Right, it brings a different perspective.
And that can lead to new research questions, new avenues of exploration that they might not have considered otherwise.
So it can actually push their research forward in new and unexpected ways.
Exactly. And of course, working with industry can open doors to broader professional networks, potential future collaborations.
Makes sense. And don't forget about the students.
Oh, right. That's another big one.
Access to talented students who can contribute to their research.
And for the students, it's an incredible opportunity to gain real-world experience.
Totally. It's a win-win for everyone involved.
And speaking of win-win, let's talk about the fintech companies. What are their reasons for wanting to engage with academia through this platform?
Yeah, what's in it for them?
I think the most obvious one is innovation.
Okay, and what does that mean in practice?
Well, fintech is a highly competitive space. Everyone's trying to stay ahead of the curve, develop the next big thing.
It's all about that competitive edge.
Exactly. And by tapping into academic research, they gain access to cutting-edge ideas, new approaches, potentially even disruptive technologies.
And it's not just about the tech itself, right?
No, it's also about talent.
Oh, right. Finding those highly skilled graduates who are up to date on the latest research.
Exactly. These are the people who are going to be driving innovation in the years to come.
Makes sense. So it's a way to attract the best and brightest.
And let's not forget about reputation.
Oh, good point. How does that play into it?
Well, by collaborating with universities, fintech companies can enhance their credibility, both within the industry and with potential clients.
It's a signal that they're serious about innovation?
Exactly. They're not just chasing profits, they're investing in the future.
Okay, so we've got innovation, talent, reputation. What else?
Well, staying informed about emerging trends is crucial in such a fast-moving field.
Right, you don't want to get left behind.
And academic research is a great way to do that, to see what's on the horizon, anticipate those market shifts.
It's like having a crystal ball, in a way.
Sort of, or at least a really informed prediction based on solid research.
So we've got the researchers, we've got the fintech companies. What about investors? Why would they be interested in a platform like this?
Well, investors are always looking for those early-stage innovations with high growth potential.
The next big thing.
Exactly. And this platform provides a window into the latest research and development happening at the intersection of finance and technology.
So it's a potential gold mine for spotting those future unicorns.
Potentially. And by understanding the direction of academic research, they can also get a sense of emerging market trends, make more informed investment decisions.
It's about having that finger on the pulse of where the industry is heading.
Exactly. And of course, there's the networking aspect.
Right. The opportunity to connect with both innovative companies and leading researchers.
It's a valuable ecosystem for anyone looking to invest in the future of fintech.
Okay, so we've got a pretty clear picture now of the different stakeholders involved and their motivations for using this platform.
It's a really interesting mix of needs and desires.
Totally. And it seems like the platform is trying to create a win-win situation for everyone.
That's the idea, to facilitate those mutually beneficial relationships.
And that brings us to a crucial question. How does all of this translate into revenue? How does this platform plan to make money and actually sustain itself?
Right, because a platform like this needs resources to operate, to keep developing those features, to attract and retain users.
Absolutely. So let's talk monetization. What are their plans?
Well, they're proposing a multi-pronged approach, and one key strategy is subscription fees, particularly for premium content.
Okay, so what kind of premium content are we talking about?
Well, it could be more in-depth research reports, access to specialized analytical tools, maybe even exclusive commentary from leading experts.
So things that a fintech company or an investor would be willing to pay for to gain that extra edge.
Exactly, the kind of information that's not readily available elsewhere.
Makes sense. And that subscription model is pretty common for online platforms these days.
It's proven to work.
So what other revenue streams are they considering?
Well, they're also talking about commissions.
Okay, and how would that work?
Essentially, if the platform successfully facilitates a connection that leads to something like access to exclusive data or participation in a high-value event, they would take a small commission.
So they're incentivized to make those valuable connections happen.
Exactly. They benefit when their users benefit.
That's a smart model.
And another significant revenue stream they're proposing is charging fees for paid consultations with those participating professors.
Oh, interesting. So companies could basically hire an expert through the platform.
Precisely. If they need specific advice or analysis, they can tap into that academic expertise for a fee.
And that plays to the platform's strengths, right? They have access to this incredible pool of knowledge.
That's the unique selling point.
Are there any other ways they're thinking about generating revenue?
They briefly mention a few other possibilities, like a freemium model, where basic access is free, but you pay for more advanced features.
That's a good way to attract a wider audience.
And they could potentially explore sponsorships from established companies in the fintech space.
That could provide a steady stream of income,
And then there are things like grants from organizations that support innovation.
which could fund specific projects or initiatives.
Right. And while they acknowledge some potential drawbacks, they don't rule out the possibility of carefully managed advertising on the platform.
That's always a tricky one, finding that balance between revenue and user experience.
It's a delicate dance, but it's definitely on the table.
And finally, they mention offering specialized services for a fee, like legal templates for collaboration agreements. Oh, that's actually really useful, especially when you're dealing with complex intellectual property issues.
Right. It's another way to provide value and generate revenue at the same time.
So it sounds like they're really exploring all the options.
They're trying to be comprehensive and make sure they have multiple revenue streams.
That makes sense. It's all about long-term sustainability.
Exactly. So they're not reliant on any one source of income.
Okay, so we've talked about the structure, the functionality, the stakeholders, the monetization, all of that. But let's get back to the heart of it all. How does this platform actually drive collaboration and innovation? It's not enough to just have people's profiles on a website. There needs to be active engagement.
Absolutely. And they've incorporated several mechanisms to really facilitate those connections.
Tell me more.
Well, they're talking about using AI-powered smart matching.
Oh, that's interesting. How would that work?
Essentially, algorithms would analyze everyone's profiles, their research interests, their expertise, their needs.
Okay, so it's going beyond just keyword searches.
Right. It's about finding those connections that might not be immediately obvious.
So it's like a matchmaking service for fintech innovation.
In a way. And that's combined with robust search filters, so users can still actively search based on specific criteria.
So you have both options, the AI recommendations and the ability to take control of your own search.
And of course, direct messaging is crucial. That's how you actually get the conversation started.
Right, that initial point of contact.
Exactly. And beyond those initial connections, they're really focusing on creating a collaborative environment.
What do you mean?
Well, for one, they're talking about active moderation of the forums and discussion groups.
Okay, so keeping those conversations on track, making sure they're productive.
And that high-quality newsletter we talked about, that's also a key part of keeping people engaged.
Right, providing valuable insights, keeping them coming back for more.
And they're planning to organize regular webinars, workshops, even virtual conferences.
So it's about creating opportunities for live interaction, building relationships.
Exactly. And they're even considering incorporating gamification elements.
Gamification in an academic industry platform.
It might sound strange, but it could be a way to motivate people to contribute, to participate.
I'm curious to see how that plays out.
It's a novel approach, for sure.
Okay, so they're doing a lot to facilitate connections and build community, but how do they actually help those connections turn into tangible collaborations?
Well, one key feature is dedicated project workspaces.
Okay, so once a potential collaboration is identified.
They have this virtual space where they can work together, share files, manage tasks, track progress.
It's like a virtual project room.
Exactly. And they're even offering standardized project proposal templates.
Oh, that's smart. It streamlines the process of getting started.
It helps ensure that everyone's on the same page from the beginning.
And perhaps most importantly, they're planning to showcase successful collaborations that have come out of the platform. So it's proof that it works, inspiration for others.
Exactly. It builds trust and encourages further participation.
Okay, so it really is a comprehensive approach to building a collaborative ecosystem.
They've thought this through very carefully.
Well, this deep dive into the collaborazione behavioral has been fascinating, to say the least.
It's a really ambitious undertaking.
It is, but it seems like they're really addressing a genuine need.
That gap between academia and the fintech industry.
Right, and they're not just throwing people together, they're creating a whole framework for collaboration.
And they're thinking very strategically about how to monetize it to ensure long-term sustainability.
Which is crucial.
Absolutely. And what's really striking is how they're taking into account the needs and motivations of each stakeholder group.
The researchers, the fintech companies, the investors.
It's a delicate balance.
It is. But if they can pull it off, it has the potential to really accelerate innovation in the fintech space.
It could be a game changer.
It really could. And it makes you wonder, could this model be applied in other industries?
That's a great question.
Imagine a similar platform connecting medical researchers with biotech companies or engineers with manufacturers.
The possibilities are endless.
What could that do for innovation in those fields? What challenges might they face?
It's definitely something to think about.
It is, and it's something we might just explore in a future deep dive. So thank you for joining us today, and as always, keep those innovative minds churning.
Always.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.